5 things I don't like about living in Salt Lake City. That is what I'm talking about today. Hi, this is Melissa Ballman, and I'm a real estate agent here in the greater Salt Lake City area. So what that means, if you're looking at making a real estate move, I'd love to connect with you. Shoot me a text, send me an email, do what you got to do, but get in touch with me. But first, today I want to talk about 5 things that I don't like about living in Salt Lake City. And if you stay tuned till the end, I'm going to give you a bonus item that it's not really something I don't like because it doesn't affect me. But something that people don't realize about living or visiting here in Utah. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know I moved to Utah from California, from San Diego, 20 years ago now, 20 years this year. I permanently called Utah home. So I've lived in a few states and I'm familiar with how things go in other states. So today my list of things are things that bother me about living in Salt Lake City. They're not always prevalent or always an issue, but sometimes it's just one of those, I don't like this thing. So number 1, allergies. Nobody ever talks about how bad your allergies can get here in Utah, and it is all year long. My family and I take allergy pills almost every day of the year, it seems like. It snowed last week. My allergies were going nuts and I still had to take allergy pills almost every single day. Number 2, the inversion. It's not all the time. Some years are worse than others. Some times of the year are worse than others. But when it hits in the winter time, if it's really bad, I can't stand to feel socked in with the inversion. Being a San Diego girl, I like my warm weather. I like, not having long winters. So by about January, I start to get anxious. So if that inversion is bad that time of year, I really struggle with it. Now, on a side note, I am actually doing a video. I've been working on it now for a month to give people a live look at what the inversion looks like throughout the winter. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell. That way you're alerted each time I drop a new video, and more specifically, that inversion video. Number 3, the traffic and the poor infrastructure. Now, that can be taken with a grain of salt. Depending on where you're coming from, there's traffic everywhere. But here in Salt Lake area, it just doesn't seem like the infrastructure is very good in many places that you go. And it causes a lot of congestion and much longer commute times than necessary in certain areas. So that's one thing that drives me nuts. The population is growing tremendously here, which is fine-ish, but it doesn't seem like city officials or whoever is in charge of it, and it's not just one particular city, not a lot of thought or resources seem to be putting into infrastructure to help ease the congestion of traffic in certain areas. Number 4, I am an outdoors person and everybody is coming to Utah to visit. It makes it very difficult for those of us that live in the state to go and enjoy our own backyard and not have to compete for space and deal with a lot of people coming in. Now, that's just part of living in this beautiful state and having 5 national parks and beautiful state parks and just having amazing scenery that you don't see in many other states. So I get that, but it does kind of get old when you can't go to your favorite place to camp because it's always full. And then when you do go, it's just filled with lots of out-of-state people here visiting and all of that. And I'm not even talking about national parks. There's no free pours in Utah. And sometimes, not very often, it would be nice to go out to a restaurant and sit down at dinner and not feel like I'm drinking myself sober because it's measured to the precise amount of alcohol in a drink. It's nice to just have a free pour and not pay expensive prices for a drink for 1 or 1.5 ounces of alcohol in a drink. So kind of goes in line with the liquor laws, but more specifically, the free pour. Okay, and then for my bonus item, like I said, this isn't something that affects me, but we are a high elevation, so you have to drink a lot of water here. I don't drink soda, so this, like I said, isn't a problem. But I often have people that get horrible headaches when they're here visiting. They're very, very tired. They get altitude sickness, all kinds of things. And that's one thing I always tell people is if you're not coming from a higher elevation, such as Denver, which is not much off from Salt Lake City, you know, they are higher elevation than us, but not by a lot. But let's say you're coming from a coastal state, whether that's the East Coast or West Coast, you need to plan on drinking about double the amount of water you would normally drink at home. And that seems to help people's problems when they come to the altitude. I hope you enjoyed my video today. If you are looking at making a real estate move, I'd love to connect with you. If you're looking at moving to Salt Lake City, I'd love to connect with you and answer any questions that you have about the real estate market or what it's like living here or anything else. But as always, make it a great day.